So the objective of today's video is to learn what is programming paradigm. Then we learn about oops. Here we learn about what is object, what is classes, and constructor. So then we learn about four pillar of oops. So let's start. Introduction to oops. So before going to oops, let's first start know about what is programming paradigm. So my friend, programming paradigm means it is a style of writing code. Here we are going to write a code in a different format. So programming paradigm means basically it is a style of writing code. So now object oriented programming. Object oriented programming is a type of programming paradigm in which code revolves around object and classes. Means here we are going to write a code around object and classes. We create a class and then we create an object from that class. In oops, we focus on real world entity like student, car class, phone class, and animal class, and other class, right? You can use oops in any other language like C++, Java, Python, or other language too. So now let's start. What is class? So class is a user defined blueprint or template that define how an object will look and behave. A class contains data member or variable, sometimes is also called as attribute and member function to define behavior, right? Means when we define a class, then in class there are data and there are function which are defined to manipulate that data to use accordingly to that data, right? You can think like a class is a blueprint of your house. When we were going to build a house, then we go to architect, and architect define a blueprint for your house based on your land area, in which they define where your room is, where your all the things, right? So just like let's say I am creating a class phone. So all the phones have a feature of calling feature, YouTube feature, and other feature, but every phone going to inherit from that phone class like Oppo, Vivo, Nokia. So this basically particular phone is a object of that class phone, right? So means here as I define object, means object is an instance of a class created using that blueprint. Means first we define a class, and based on that class we are going to define an object, like suppose we have a blueprint as I show blueprint, and based on that blueprint we are going to create a object, means house. Then this house is actual object, just like as we define a class, and if we create a class object from that class, then that is instance of a class. So I am trying to show here. Let's say I am creating a class mobile. Here a mobile class have brand name and price. I am trying to simplify it. First we learn about what is class and object, then we create a multiple class, multiple object, and so the basic of first we learn, and then we try to play with the classes and object, right? So this def init method, basically this is a constructor, later we learn about in this video. And this is self means it is a you can say it is used to refer to the particular object from that class, right? So I have defined a class mobile, and here I create a constructor. In this I have created two attributes, or you can say two data, here brand and price, right? And I create a two phone, means two object. First M1 is mobile Oppo, this price is 12,000, and M2 is a phone of Vivo, this price is 15,000, right? So this M1 and M2 are object of that class mobile, right? So this way you can define class and object. Basically this is a basic method of defining class and object, right? So we learn about why oops. So oops basically helps to reusability of code defined in one class, and a child class inherit from that parent class, right? And easy maintenance means is to provide easy maintenance. Organized structure makes debugging and updates simple. And the third one is organized code keeps related data and behavior together, improving readability and collaboration, right? Now we'll learn about what is self and what is init in Python, right? Earlier I tried to explain, here I'll try to explain in detail. So self means this is a refers to the current object of that class, right, used to access variable and method of that particular class. While init is a constructor in Python that automatically runs when a new object is created using that class, right? So when we create a class, when we create an object from that class, then this init method is used. And there are two types of constructor. First is default constructor. Here this default constructor takes no parameter, while the another is parameterized constructor. The parameterized constructor takes arguments to initialize object. Here we see I create a class of student. Here there are two property, name and age, right? So if we create a object from that class, then if we does not provide name and age, then the default constructor is called, while if we provide a means name and age, then the parameterized constructor called. Like as I try to show, s1 is object where I create a student object. Here I does not create here I does not provide any name and age, while in s2 I provide a name Gautam and age is 25. So this when this object created s2, then the parameterized constructor called, while when in s1 default constructor called, right? This is one of the most important pillar of oops in any programming language. When we learn oops, then all programming language have this facility, means encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, right? Whether you are learning C++, Python, Java, or other programming language, this concept basically same in all programming language, but the implementation of this concept is going to different from programming language to programming language, but the concept is similar in all programming language. So let's first take an overview of this. And encapsulation means wrapping data and method in a single class, right? You can think like a capsule analogy. In capsule, all the ingredients in you can say bind in a capsule. Just like when we define a class, then we define data and member a function that works on that data. Next one is abstraction. Abstraction means hiding internal detail. Like you can say, if we define a class, then if anyone let's say we drive car, and all the internal implementation is hide from user, right? If a user know, then fine. If a user does not know, then it's not necessary that he must know. Like so abstraction means hiding internal details. In inheritance, inheritance means reusing parent class feature. Like we define a parent class, let's say vehicle, and if a child class like a car, or you can say, let's say car or truck or auto inherit property from vehicle class, or you can say we define a class animal, right? So in animal class, from that animal class all the subclass means child class inherit property from animal class, right? So this is inheritance, means inheriting from property from parent class, just like we do from our parents or from our grandparents, just like in programming also done. So here inheritance, there are multiple types of inheritance like single level, multi-level, multiple, hybrid, a lot of. And the next pillar is polymorphism. So polymorphism say a same method different behavior, just like you can say we use paint. So in paint application there is a selector, so that selector sometimes work as a eraser, sometimes used to work as a you can say writing something like just like this. And another example is there is a class of animal. So from animal class all the animals are inheriting, like dog, cat, and other animals are. So all, if there is a function of you can say speak, then all this animal are behaving it with different, like cat say meow, while dogs bark. So all this animal works differently with its method, right? So what we will learn today? Today we learn about programming paradigm. Here we learn a programming paradigm. It is a style of writing code. And in object and class we learn class is a blueprint, while object is a instance of that class. In constructor we learn about it is used to define class, and it initialize when a class is initiated, right? And there are two types of constructor. First one is default constructor, and another is parameterized constructor. And then we'll learn overview of pillar of OOPS: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, right? So a note is programming means, sorry, object oriented programming, this is not a programming language, it is a style of writing code, right? So thank you my friend, I hope you learn something new from this video. Thank you.